So hi everyone, I'm Ritvik, and I'll be showing Transit, a mobile platform for crowdsourcing Tokyo's rail network. So here's the problem and some background. I came to Tokyo around 9 months ago, and this place was fantastic. It was everything I thought it was and much more. The rail network was amazing. It was vast, interconnected, convenient. But one thing we all can agree here is it's not the most comfortable or the most efficient thing ever. Like this thing every morning, no one wants this, right? So to put this into perspective, here are some numbers. Every morning in Tokyo, the cars are running at 191% capacity. And that number is a big number. So much so that we are carrying over 20 million passengers every single day, and that's more than what Germany does in 1 year. Yeah. In fact, to put things into more perspective, because of physics, the theoretical maximum for any train car is 250%, and we're already more than halfway there. So you see where I'm getting now, right? In 2 years, we have the Olympics, and the Japanese government says we're going to have 40 million people coming into Japan by 2020 for the Olympics. So where will these people go? Consider this scenario. Imagine like a German tourist comes to Japan for the Olympics. He lands in Narita, takes the express, arrives in Shinjuku station, and the first thing he sees is this. The number hits, right? 191%. So the question is, how will they get around this mess, and how can we as residents of Tokyo help, right? That's where Transit steps in. What if there was a way in which we can make the travel experience through the maze that is Tokyo comfortable, efficient, and easier without adding any new infrastructure, but utilizing the travel data that we all create every single day and use that to create a platform which improves their commute when the foreigners come in. It's Transit. So what it does is basically a platform for crowdsourcing people's travel habits over the entirety of Tokyo area in real time, and to generate like accurate predictions and then help create a more efficient system. So think of the application Waze, but implement it on an extensive scale over all of Tokyo. So here's how we'll fix this. In 2020, those millions of foreigners, this is how they will travel. We have the limited alpha running right now, so they have the application, they're going to open it up, and they're going to choose their desired train lines. Right now, we are working on Tozai-sen, and they can get detailed, localized info about each station and the traffic in real time at each station. And they can just click on any of the stations they're traveling through, and they can also get train information passing through that station in real time, and you can see how crowded they are. And you can go even further and tap on that to find out the hyper-localized, accurate information about each car in real time, because this information is being fed by all other people traveling. And you can also get other information snippets like where are other station facilities and so on. And we also have a rewards program for people to actually contribute data, a leaderboard, so that they can have some competitive spirit going on. And then there's also an option for companies to mass sponsor data for good PR. But the basic question is, how is all of this even possible, right? It's possible because of all of us working together. And the idea is crowdsourcing. Basically, all of us taking the train every single day can just open the application and in less than 10 seconds, fill in some of the data points such as delays, destination, and the current crowd level in the car. And we on our side will collect all that data and do analysis on that to actually give real-time predictions. In the very literal sense, this is omotenashi from all of us to all the foreigners coming into Tokyo by 2020, because hundreds and thousands of Tokyoites work together to actually make this happen. The competition, well, there are obviously the three main players, Google, Yahoo, and Navitime. Google have some personalization going on, but the information is A to B. Navitime has information, but barely any personalization. But Transit, on the other hand, would give you like the most personalized experience with best accuracy and most information. The competitive advantage obviously comes from the focus on comfort and efficiency. It's crowdsourced, it's accurate, and obviously we are generating a social impact for all of those people because everyone's pretty much working together to make this happen. This goes so much further than just telling you how to get from A to B. It will tell you how will your experience be. Our business model is looking at partnerships with companies like JR and Navitime, and maybe even Google, maybe even do license our data, which would be like really accurate traffic data. We're looking at sponsorship for companies to actually sponsor some of those data collection efforts for good PR, and maybe even some premium features at some point. The timeline right now, we actually started with the limited alpha, as you saw in the slides before, with like Waseda students. In summer, we are looking at maybe raising some seed fund and getting some mentors to actually cover more train lines. We're looking at an accelerator by the end of 2018 maybe, and also like a public launch by the end of this year, so every one of you can actually get in by the end of this year. And the first test run would be the Rugby World Cup in summer of 2019, and finally the Olympics. And finally, one more thing. This is actually, all data is real. We actually collected it, and you can play with it in the coming few weeks right here.
Ritvik, thank you for the great presentation. So this is a very interesting idea, and crowdsourcing definitely is a very interesting platform to get transportation data. These kind of P2P applications really require users to invest their time in providing data. People need to be almost addicted, hooked to the platform. How are you providing that UX and UI design to actually provide that?
Definitely, that will be one of the main challenges. The idea is basically how Waze works, because Waze also requires the same thing, but as you said, we need to have some sort of an addictive behavior. As I said in the presentation, we are looking at some leaderboard system. Maybe we might collaborate with companies who might give some points, and people get points based on how much they contribute. So if you get points, you get like travel points, and there's a leaderboard for them to compete with. But the UI UX thing is definitely something in the short run we're going to be working on.
Thanks.
You mentioned Waze. What were the learnings from Waze about how they got people aware of the site? So there's one that's getting them engaged and putting in information, but how are you going to get people to understand even about this, and how are you going to market in such a way that people are familiar with it?
That is a good question. That's one of the challenges we are facing right now, because obviously this thing works on a snowball effect. If more people use it, then we get more better, and more people then have better results. So far, the marketing strategies we have is word of mouth. I live in a dormitory with other students, 800 other students, so that kind of spreads very quickly among the university. But beyond that, we are looking at basically basic tech platforms like Hacker News, Product Hunt, and so on. But I think it will take some time and some marketing strategies to actually get it out. But that is one challenge we are working on right now.
And back to then kind of the sponsorships and things, have you thought about maybe one of the sponsorships being another social media site so that it's connected already to people having conversations?
Definitely, that is one way we can go with, in which you can involve social media and people already have their connections there, and they can bring those in.
Thank you. 比嘉さん、please translate for me.
ごめんなさい、日本語ですみません。競合
さんが、ナビタイムとかヤフーみたいにたくさんありますよね。で、クラウドソーシングっていうことは一つすごくいいアイデアだと思うんですけど、彼らが競合さんが真似できない理由って何ですか？すなわちオリジナルなポイントって何ですか？
So the question was, what's your competitive advantage? And you have so many different competitors in Google Maps, Waze, JR, Navitime. What is the differentiating factor? What's your moat that you built, that something that other competitors can't mimic?
Right. So the thing that separates us from any of those other competitors is, first of all, none of those other competitors can provide this level of accurate information. I mean, Google will tell you how to get from A to B, like get in this train and get out at platform B, but it won't really tell you how your journey would be at any step, and same with Navitime. So because of crowdsourcing, we have this level of accurate data, which is as accurate as like getting into a train car, which is not covered in any of those other apps. And we can use that data to actually make recommendations. I mean, if a foreigner comes into Tokyo and he's at Shinjuku station at 9:05 and he sees that train, so our application can tell him like, it's not worth getting into that train because 25 minutes later the train's gonna be empty anyway. None of those other apps in the market can actually tell you that. So we actually have this kind of focus on comfort versus time, which is the kind of a space no one else in the transit industry is working right now.
Actually, I have one more question. So you talked about you guys have a limited alpha and kind of a working prototype. How far is it to kind of like scalability? Like, is the backend developed that you can scale to mass amount of consumers?
Okay, the scalability, right now we are working with roughly 25 users. It's very ghetto. We pretty much started 2 weeks ago with the limited alpha. But like the backend is something which is definitely in works. I would be working right now. I'm the only person, all of it right now. So yeah, it probably in the next coming weeks and months, I'll be the only engineer working on this. But yeah.
sorry, one more question. Remind me again, how do you make money? What's the revenue stream for you, and how does that work?
Definitely, that was a tricky question when we were actually, when I was actually thinking about this, because ads or other things don't really work in this scenario, because we actually want to give the best experience to the user, and it's 2018, like who actually clicks on ads anyway. So, but the idea we are actually looking at here is, as I said in the slides, was partnerships with JR and other companies, because after a while we would be the only company in the market who would have access to this kind of really accurate and this kind of traffic data on like so many people. So other companies like Google and JR, they might actually need that data to build upon that, so we can license those assets at some point.